Okay, all right. For those watching the video, thanks for joining. Um, Please make sure you're logged into your AWS console. And can everyone? No, no. Let me share my screen. I was about to ask, can everyone see my screen? Let me share my screen first. Share screen. Which screen am I sharing? This one. Yeah, share. Let's get the number. Let's get the number. Number two, if you all can hear me, can you type the number 2 in the chat, please? Awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Moving on now. Moving on. So Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk. Now, I want you guys to think about this. And I like to use scenarios like, you're working for some company X. Let's do the same thing here. Now, you've been the cloud engineer, the cloud architect for a while now, and now you're being told that there's another application that your company wants to launch. Now, before this new deployment, this new application, or let's say this new website, that you're supposed to be the engineer to architect how your company is going to host it and make sure that it's always available for all of the customers that go to use that application. So now you've learned about Elastic Beanstalk, right? And now you want to deploy this application. You've recommended to your to your directors or your manager that this is the best route to go. And why do you do that? You explain to them these benefits. If you all can see my screen, right? Normally you would take care of capacity provisioning, right? You go and you do all that setup for auto scaling. Say, okay, auto scaling, give me 5 server. I want 5 servers at all times, or 6 servers, and all that. You go and you configure a couple of things in there. If you guys have been following all of my videos, we did that before, right? And then you also do load balancing, and then you auto scale, and then you have your application health monitoring and all that. But as you can see here, Elastic Beanstalk will automatically handle the deployment of all of that for you. This is not to say that it doesn't give you the flexibility to make the changes to these resources as you like. It does give you that flexibility, right? But think of a situation where you just get the code from the developers, right? They give you the folder, the zip folder where the files are, and you just take that and you submit it to Elastic Beanstalk, right? And Elastic Beanstalk will automatically do some work for you in the background. And you see everything that it's doing, right, in the console, and then it'll finish deploying that for you guys. Like, it'll finish deploying that for you, and you can go in and you can see what it's set up, and then you can customize as you like as well, right? Maybe add auto scaling and add other things. Hopefully in the coming weeks we can get a little more complicated with this service, but for now, I want you to have it and be able to comfortably list it on your resume that you do know Elastic Beanstalk, and you can help your company get started with using it. With that said, what other benefits does it come with? You have freedom to select the AWS resources. Just like I summarized in general, you do have the flexibility to choose, if you want to upgrade the instances that it's using for you, all of that you can customize, and you can best choose the one that works. You can choose the one that works best for your type of application, right? Maybe you want a server that has more memory, more CPU, then go ahead and customize it to use that type of instance. Automatic application health monitoring, okay, all that good stuff. Now we're going to stop with that. Okay, you can always come to this page and read more benefits about it. Now these are some of the platforms that it supports. If your developers wrote the application in Java, if they wrote the application in .NET, if they wrote it in PHP, if they wrote it in Node.js, Python, Ruby, Go. As you can see, some of the popular programming languages it supports, right? I mean, anything out of this, then you have to do it the old way, right? Or or as some companies are doing now, go serverless. But then this makes it easier, right? Instead of what we've been doing before, right? As if you all can remember from how we hosted our PHP application and how we hosted the Node.js application, and some of you might have felt like, this is a little complicated. But again, guys, remember I told you guys you should do those labs and you should know how to do those things. It is not complicated. You have to stop saying to yourself that this is complicated, this is hard. And I hope that the way I explain these things and the way I repeat things a lot, makes it easier for you guys to understand. And you should be able to comfortably list it on your resume so you can get that job, okay? And get that job. With that said, I wanted to quickly do a whiteboard, right? So what are we saying here? To summarize everything that I've said, let's say this is your environment, right? Usually we would launch an instance. Please pardon my drawings here. You launch an instance. The instance has a volume, right? Hard disk. Remember when we said volume, hard disk, EBS equals EBS, right? EBS equals hard drive equals volume, right? So those words, think of them as the same, right? So this environment, you as the engineer, you're the one who would always do everything. You manage, the deployment of all of this. And then now you're saying, AWS, here's the code, right? Here's the code. Do some magic for me, deploy it for me, and give me and AWS will then give you a URL, right? A DNS endpoint, right? It'll give you a URL, as I always call it, or you can say a DNS. So this is where you would go to, right? This is the link that you go to so that your customers can now see your application, right? So that your customers can now see your application. So you going in, SSHing into the machines and deploying the code like we've done before. If you've watched those videos of MySQL, PHP MySQL app, Node.js MySQL app that we did in the past weeks, you know what I'm talking about here. We get the code, we go inside of the machine, and we do yum update. We install Apache, so all of that, forget about that. Just grab that code from the developers, wherever they put it in the S3 bucket or whatever it is, usually in a zipped file or directly from an S3 bucket, and just say AWS, here it is, launch it for me, give me the URL. And then I know some of you might have a question now that, but this is perhaps a long URL that your company does not want, right? They want something that's more company-like, right? Customized to their company. In the chat real quick, who can tell me, when we end up getting this URL from Elastic Beanstalk, how can we customize this to be ourcompany.com? I know someone knows this. It's impossible that someone does not know it in the chat. Look at the chat real quick, guys. Let's see the first person to type the answer. There you go. 52? Good one. Very close. 53. There you go. Exactly. Route 53. We can use that to customize. Now, guys, let's go to the console. Again, hopefully this is not a long lab. Again, I want to mention here, we're going to use a sample PHP application, okay? Go to your drive now and download that file on your computer. Do not unzip it, okay? Leave it as a zip file. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. Go to the demo code folder. Let me have one of my volunteers, like I always have every week, my awesome volunteer. Please put the link to the drive in the chat for others that might have that question. So go in there. I think I have it up. Yeah, it's right here as well for me. Go in here and download this zip file, php.zip here. Okay, download this php.zip. It's an application that our developers wrote in PHP. Okay, the same way I want you to think about this. If they wrote it in Java, if they wrote it in Node, if they wrote it in Go, right? Similar process. Just grab that folder where they've done all their work of writing the code, to make the website be what it is. They've already added the database in there, right? And I know I got us a little bit advanced in that sense where we actually did the work of, getting the database, right? If you remember from some of the lab. But in reality, when the developers give you the code, it's a code that's already connected to some type of database. Right, they've worked with the database engineers, the database administrators. They know where the application reads and writes to, the database that it's going to read and write from. So all of that is taken care of. But we did do that in our PHP MySQL lab at some point as well. Okay, By the end of the day, once you get that file, it should have everything it needs to run, right? You as the architect just design how it's going to be put into availability zones, security, right? Cost optimization. That's why you are the architect, okay? And I know some companies, you're the same thing, cloud architect, cloud engineer, but be able to do these things, right? Know the well-architected framework. Please, please, please. Before you get an AWS job, right, as a cloud engineer, you go through the interview. They're telling you, okay, we do a lot of things on AWS, and that's what you find mostly, especially here in the United States. Many companies are on AWS, right? It's the biggest cloud provider out there, right? More services, more everything. I really want you to read the well-architected framework, okay? It will let you think in the right way as you're designing and you're putting together the architecture and building it, right? Actually going in and configuring it. It will give you the best practices steps, right, of what you should be doing as you're doing that. Well architected framework. Before you also take the solutions architect associate exam, make sure that you read the well architected framework. Trust me, it has helped many people that I've advised and they passed the exam, right? Sometimes I'll tell you this, some people will come to me, they failed the first time, and I ask them this question, right? Be honest. Did you read the well architected framework? No. They read it. Guess what happens? They pass. Okay? So write that down in your notes right now. I have to read the well architected framework in order to do well on my job, but also in order to do well on the exam. Okay? All right. Thanks Astu for posting the link to the drive. Let's get to it now. Okay, now we have the drive here. We have it downloaded, and I have it in my folder, source code. So let me show you guys. I have it here. Okay, as you can see, I didn't unzip it. Do not unzip. Just leave it zipped. Now let's go to the AWS console, guys. Let's go to the AWS console. Just type Elastic. Once you type Elastic in here, it should show Elastic. Elastic Beanstalk. You guys see that? Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, let's go in there. Let's go in there. What else? Create application. So let's go ahead and create application. Okay. Create application. All right, let's call this sample PHP. All right, guys, sample PHP. So this should be faster because we're not worrying about launching EC2 instances. Remember, AWS will do all that for us, right? Application. Do we want to tag this application? No. You can give it a name. You can say, I don't know what is this app. Let's say e-commerce. Let's say this is a shopping application. It's not a shopping app, guys. I'm just using that as an example. Okay. Let's call this shopping app. And by the way, this zip file that I have you guys download is an AWS example application. Okay, just FYI. So name is a reserved. Okay. How about type? Okay. Type shopping app. Right. If you have another app that you're deploying, you can give it another tag and another tag and another tag for multiple different apps that you're hosting on AWS. Platform. What platform are we going to choose, guys? Do you guys remember what type of app I said we're using? In the chat, come on. I like some interaction sometimes in this classes, in these sessions. In the chat real quick. What am I going to choose? It's asking me what platform. PHP, there we go. PHP, and you can see the other thing that it supports. If you want a Java, if you want to deploy a Java application, as you can see, Java, Node.js, Go, Glassfish, Docker, and all of that. So let's go ahead and choose PHP. Okay, I'm gonna leave this auto-populated fields in there. Go ahead and choose upload your code. Okay, go ahead and choose upload your code. It gave you the version label, right? Because as your developers change the code and they say, hey, here's the new update, right? We need to change what's currently running. And then, you can start saying maybe this is version 1. In fact, let's say this is version 1. Let's say V1 here. Okay, let's say V1, or you can say test version or something like that. All right, so it's asking us the source code origin. Remember, like I mentioned earlier, it could be on your computer or it could be in an S3 bucket. So here, it's a local file now. Why? Because we have it on our computers. So we're going to go and grab that now, okay? Now I'm going to say choose file. I'm going to say choose file. And where is it? Where is it? There it is. PHP zip. You guys see that? PHP zip. I'm going to open now. Okay, I'm going to open. Successfully uploaded. Let me give like 10 seconds and I'll ask you guys where you're at. Okay. Give me the number 5 if you're with me so far. Number 5. You know, pretty straightforward, easy so far. Good, 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 good. Awesome. Very good. Very, very nice. Let me check something real quick. Whoa, we have 22 people on this call right now. Nice, nice, nice. Very nice. Higher than last week. Much higher than last week. Let me go ahead now and create application. Okay, since many of you are with me so far. Tawfiq, wa alaikum salam. All right, now guys, this is going to take some time. Like I said, it will tell you everything it is doing. Now you see hands off. Not like when we had to deploy the Node.js application, the PHP MySQL application, and we did a lot of configuration inside of the machine. Look, it's doing all of that for us, right? And again, remember, like I said, you can customize some of these things, or all of these things actually, okay? And hopefully in the coming weeks, we'll do a little more on Elastic Beanstalk. So, you know, at least you get more advanced understanding of how you can customize things in Elastic Beanstalk. I would highly recommend, you know, within your companies, if they're asking you, you know, how they're going to deploy their next Java application, and money is not an issue, okay? And like, you know, just put it up there, like, you know, ensure it's secure, ensure it's highly available and all of that. I'd recommend Elastic Beanstalk, to be honest, right? To save you a lot of, you know, troubleshooting headaches and things like that. If you can get it to work in Elastic Beanstalk, right? Great. With Elastic Beanstalk also, especially for the exam, I really want you guys to look into this. Deployment types. For some of you that have taken the exam, especially the DevOps exam, actually this is more important for the DevOps Engineer Professional exam, right? These deployment types you should know, right? If you want to update a version of a code that you've given to Elastic Beanstalk, right? How do you want that to happen? Do you want it to deploy the new version to all of the instances that you have currently running, right? So the instances will be out of service for a short period of time, right? So that it can put the code and bring them back online. The second one is rolling, right? It'll let's say you have 5 instances running, the Elastic Beanstalk is running for you, right? Let's say 6 to get the numbers a little bit more perfect. It'll start deploying on 2 servers at a time, okay? On 2 servers at a time. But think about this, guys. Think about this. And I'm just talking now because our environment will be running for a while. Yeah. All right. So let me clear my whiteboard. How do I clear this? Yeah, reload. Okay, reload works. So guys, think about this. You get that code now. This is the code from the developer. They made some changes. Okay. Now this is your Elastic Beanstalk environment. Okay, this is your Elastic Beanstalk environment. I'm just gonna say EB. Okay. Now you have 6 servers. Okay, just imagine these are servers. Okay, they have volumes, they have their volume, they have their volumes, they have their volumes. Okay, now you want to deploy a new code, okay, into these machines. Now we said with rolling, with all at once, everything will go offline. All of these 6 servers will go offline for a period of time, and then it will deploy the code, and then it will bring them back online. It will deploy your new code and bring it back online. The second one is rolling. Okay, with rolling, it will take out 2. For example, okay, deploy that, and then it will take out the next 2, right? And then you take out the next 2, right? So in this case, if you carefully think about it, you at all times you've had 6 machines running at all times. Now, if it starts to take out 2, to do this new deployment for you, what will happen to your capacity? Your capacity will reduce, right? If it's an environment where you don't need these 6 servers running at all times, you can have 3, you can have 4, then maybe this is a good option. But if you always want to have 6, then rolling is not the right option. Okay, you don't want it to take out 2 servers. Why? Because you need all 6 at all times. Okay, so maybe what you want to look at then is what? Rolling with additional batch. Okay, deploy a new version in batches, but first launch a new batch of instance to ensure what? Look at that. To ensure full capacity during the deployment process. Okay, so it'll launch a new batch of instances first, right? So that you're always at that 6. Okay, so that you're always at that 6 if that's what your environment really requires. Your environment cannot handle having 4 machines running. It needs those 6. Again, you don't want to go for rolling. You want to go for rolling with additional batch option. Immutable is just going to have another auto scaling group. Okay, and then you have another auto scaling group, and then in the new auto scaling group that it creates for you. Let's say you have, look at my hands, guys. You have a current environment with an auto scaling group, Elastic Beanstalk. Now with immutable deployment, it'll create a temporary auto scaling group for you. Okay, and then it'll start deploying your machines one by one, right? It'll deploy one and make sure that it's fully available and healthy, right? It'll deploy one on one machine in the new auto scaling group. If that's healthy and all that, it'll deploy the rest of them into the new auto scaling group, right? Now, if everything is working perfectly in this temporary new auto scaling group, it'll take all of those, it'll now replace that auto scaling group with your what? With your original, and delete the temporary auto scaling group that it created for you. Okay, I hope that's clear. If not, you can always rewind this when you watch the video. We have to move on now, but I hope that makes sense. Immutable is going to be, I myself, I didn't understand immutable, and I'm DevOps Engineer Professional Certified, right? I didn't understand. It was a little confusing for me in the first place. Okay, but I want you to say in your mind right now, immutable equals auto scaling group, right? Or immutable equals temporary auto scaling group. When you do that, it will give you a good direction, right, of the right answer to choose on the exam if it comes up on the exam. Okay, so that's that. And then you have traffic splitting. I believe this one is probably much newer than the rest of them. Deploy the new version to a fresh group of instances and temporarily split incoming traffic between the existing version and the new one. That sounds pretty straightforward. All right, let's go see. Is it done? Created auto scaling group. It says this should take pending to okay. I'm just gonna refresh and see. Are you done? Where are we at? Okay, I refreshed the page and this is what I have. I have health okay. Who can tell me? Tawfiq, thank you. Thanks. Who can tell me which what am I saying, guys? Give me the number 9 in the chat if you have the same screen. Number 9. That means we're awesome, we're good. I'm pretty sure it's not only us two. Good. I see Adeola. Who else? Adesi157. I see Jared. Come on, we have about 22 people on this call. Any more? 23. Any more? Okay, 2 more and then I'll continue. 2 more. I want to make sure like more people. Ayenko, good. Victor, 1 more person. Number 9 there. That yes, I'm following. Good so far. iBoy. Okay, very good. All right, guys, we're almost done. I told you this will not take long. Why? Because we're not doing all of that work that we did with our previous application that we deployed when we had to launch the servers ourselves. Okay, all that is left now, guys, is guess what? Who can tell me? Guess what's left now? In the chat, do you know what's left now? It starts with a T. Anybody? Test. That's all that's left. Test. We're just gonna go now, grab the DNS, and see that what? The application is live. Okay, the application is live and running. And this is the URL right here. Okay, this is it right here. Copy. I'm gonna open mine in an incognito window because I don't want any cookies or anything like that. I'm gonna open mine in an incognito window. So let me paste. Copy. There you go, guys. We're done for the day. We are pretty much done for the day. Okay. Great job. Congratulations. If this worked for you, if you're able to see this screen, you've been able to successfully deploy that application. Again, think of this as just the beginning. I think we'll have about 2 more sessions for this. So we see the example of, adding a database, right, to this to Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, but again, remember, like I said, all of that work would already have been done for you. Unless your company wants you to be the one that sets up the database as well, then you have to do that extra work. Otherwise, in some environments, the developers have everything ready in the code. Okay, you just grab the code and make the magic happen, right? Make sure the application becomes highly available. Ensure some level of security, best practices in terms of cost and all of that. Is this considered automation? We can call it automation, I guess. Yeah, to some extent, there was less manual effort. That was very obvious. So yeah, it does involve some automation, but I think when people talk about automation in the industry, it's more of CI/CD, right? Continuous integration and deployment, and you automate some of the deployment, and this is actually used in some of those processes. Okay, to at the end of the day, when that code comes in from GitHub or from AWS code commit and it goes through the pipeline, the end deployment is through Elastic Beanstalk. Yeah, so it does have some, we can say it is automation to some extent. So what can people do with this site? What next? Basically, what is the benefit of this? There's no benefit. It's just you being able to load a PHP site using AWS. Okay. Whatever benefit your company's application has, then you start to reap that benefit because you've loaded the application successfully. This is just a sample application. This is just a test application. Adiola, I hope that answers your question. In a real life environment, you would have an application where, as you've seen from our previous examples, we deployed an application whereby we entered some information. The information gets submitted to a database. Okay, so in this case, this is just a blank sample application that we're testing with. In real life, it's the same process. Just get that working application from wherever your developers put it. Get it. Load it. It will show you what that application should look like. Okay, and if the application has some functionality of maybe it's a web form or it's a site where you buy things, then it should be able to do that. Okay. Can we use GitHub to load the code? Yes, you can use GitHub, but as you can see in the console, there's 2 options only. Okay, unless you do it through like a CI/CD process, then you can do it through GitHub. But if you're doing it directly from the console, as you can see from the console, we had only 2 options. The code is on your computer, right? Or the code is in S3. Okay, so those are the 2 options if you're using the console. But if you're more advanced and you are doing some type of CI/CD pipelines and things like that, then you can come from your GitHub or from your code commit and then work that way up to deploying in Elastic Beanstalk environment. With that said, that's all for today, guys. I'm gonna leave the floor open for a couple of minutes. I don't think I can go up to 12 o'clock again because I have some other commitment today. I just wanted to make sure I don't, I make sure that I do a session today and not, escape for some reason. So, not sure if they mentioned. I'm looking at the chat now. You can unmute, guys, and ask a question. So I'm gonna take about 2 or 3, maximum 3 questions. if you have any career related question, go ahead and unmute your mic and ask. Adiola, let me see what you're asking here. Not sure if you've mentioned this already, but if an interviewer asks, tell me what you did with Elastic Beanstalk in your company, how can we answer that? You can answer that by saying that you deployed a sample application. Yes, say a sample application. You took a sample application that is zipped in a folder, and you configured Elastic Beanstalk and deployed the application using Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, that's all you have to say. Okay, and I like to tell people here that when you're looking at using some of these tools, right? Some of the other things that we've talked about so far in the previous weeks, don't look at yourself as you have to be an expert before you get a job in it. No, right? Most of the experience you get will come on the job. Okay, unless they're hiring for a senior position that I don't recommend you should be looking at, because those are requiring 12 years, 10 years. No, there are other junior positions, especially if you're switching from another career to cloud computing to IT. Don't think to become an expert. Just know these basics. Do these labs that I'm doing with you, put it on your resume, and before you know it, you see that you're getting interview calls. Okay, when you get on the job, that's when the real work comes. Okay, don't try to become an expert before you're not going to get a job if that's what you're headed for. Okay, you're just going to stay for a very long time, and eventually hopefully you get a job, right? But you don't want to do that, right? You want to, you're having all of this, look at my template resume. All of the previous weeks so far, like I always say, please just make sure that you do them before you put them on a resume. Okay, do not, I don't stand for cheating on exams or lying on resume. You guys know me that I'm very big on that. Okay, just do all of that. Look at my template resume. If you look on my previous videos, I have my the links to everything you need. Your goal is to try to get to my be able to own my template resume. Okay, join my Telegram channel that is now at over 5,000 subscribers. Okay, join. If you're not part of it, please join. We put quizzes there almost every night in cloud computing and cybersecurity. Okay, no, Adiola, these live videos are on YouTube. Okay, these live videos are on YouTube. Let me see. Another question from Ayenko. Can we have AWS DevOps through this training, or just strictly? I did mention before that to some extent I will touch on DevOps, but not like too advanced, but something to get you started, hopefully, right? Something to get you started. And then you can also say on your resume that you do have some experience with DevOps, and yeah, you've done some hands-on labs. At the end of the day, you want to be able to say that you have, and you guys, if you all have seen my my template resume, you know what I'm talking about. You know how I have listed all of these sessions on that template resume. I know I'm missing about 5 weeks now that I haven't added to it. I don't want to make the resume too long, but hopefully I can maybe shrink the font, or you guys can do that. Again, that template resume, take it, format it, make it look nice as you want. At the end of the day, just make sure that whatever is there, you can you have done it. The SQL, the Python videos, I recommend that you watch them before you list them as I listed them on my resume. And hopefully before you know it, you will start getting interview calls. And I get messages from you guys, maybe perhaps not people on the call right now, but I do get messages on LinkedIn how you guys are getting interviews, by using my template resume, by following my recommendations. I'm glad that it's working out. Just do that, and before you know it, like all of these other success stories, you too will be, you start getting those interviews, right? You start getting those interviews. Let me see. Is there any other question here? This is going to be week 19. Okay, but I think my resume, I have the project listed up until week 14. Yeah, something like that. But I know I keep saying I'll update it, but even if you use my current resume right now and you can own it, knowing that you've gone through the other resources that I shared with you and you listed on your resume, you will see that you will be getting some interview calls. As long as you follow my advice of applying to at least, did I say 3 to 5 or 10 jobs on my article? I can't remember. But at least, I'm going to say now, at least apply to 3 jobs a day, guys. Right? Once you're up to speed, you're able to say, yes, now my own resume does look like your template resume. Don't stop applying for jobs. Start applying for jobs, and every single day, right? At least before you go to sleep, 3 jobs. And when I say apply, I want you to do it, especially if you're here in the US, in the East Coast. Wake up very early, and just start applying. And I really want you guys to open your mind to relocating. Okay, don't just limit yourself to jobs in your state. I've had people go out of state, just to get that experience. The goal is to get your foot in the door. Okay, get your foot. Don't be too picky now, right? I mean, if it's because of family, I can understand that, right? But if you're able to, apply to jobs across the U.S. or whatever country you're watching this video from. Okay, apply to other states. Other states are looking for people. Do that. And what is the best site to apply for jobs? Very great question. LinkedIn. You guys see me say that with like some with emphasis, right? LinkedIn. That's what I'm gonna recommend the most. Polish your LinkedIn profile, please. Right? Some of these projects, put it in your headline. Put it in your description. Right? I did this. Maybe put 5 of them. Okay, the ones that stand out. Where we hosted a Node.js application. The one we hosted a PHP MySQL application. The one we hosted an S3, a website on an S3 bucket. Right? Put those maybe in your description on LinkedIn. Please, guys, if you're not active on LinkedIn, you have to. You have to. Very important. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. You need to go now, polish your LinkedIn, put a nice photo there, talk about what you're doing. If you did this lab today, why are you not putting it on LinkedIn? Why are you not typing this up and say today I hosted a sample PHP application on AWS Elastic Beanstalk? With this service, I can further customize my deployment and add auto scaling. Put those nice words that we mentioned earlier, right, on your resume. As you're watching my video again, maybe later on, write a summary and put it on LinkedIn. Please do that. Find some of those other videos that I talked about as well. PHP, MySQL, Node.js. Summarize. Make posts about them on LinkedIn. Recruiters are watching. Search for recruiters. Say recruiters, this company. Recruiter that, find them and connect with them. Click, say connect, right? Many times, many of them, if they look at your profile, they see that you have some knowledge about, especially cloud computing, that is very huge today, AWS. They're gonna accept, okay, and they will start seeing some of these posts of yours, and all of that, and try to tag me in some of these posts, right? Some of you have been doing. When I like those posts, my own followers will see those posts as well, right? I have currently about some thousands of followers on LinkedIn. So when you make these posts, tag me so I can help you with your visibility as well, right? When you get these success stories, please tag me like you've seen other people do. That way more people are also aware of what I do. But that way as well, you also get some form of visibility for your resume, for your profile on LinkedIn. With that said, I think I'm going to stop here. I see no one has any questions via audio. I'm going to count down to 10 now. Don't forget my Telegram channel. Again, please join that Telegram channel. Very important. Indeed is good as well. At least have your resume up in 3 to 5 job sites. But again, my emphasis on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. Those are the ones I prefer, to be honest. Like the other ones are great too. I know some of you might say Monster or Dice. If you have the time to put it on those, great. But the 3 biggest ones, with number 1 being LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor. Okay. If there are no questions, I'm gonna count down to 10, and then we're gonna call it a day. Great job on successfully completing this lab. Do not forget to shut it down. Okay, do not forget to shut down what you just did. All right. So with that said, what was I gonna say? Thank you all for joining this session. Actually, let's count down to 10. If there's nobody that's going to unmute and ask a question, I think I've already gotten all the questions from the chat. Hi, I'm Venkat from Chennai. Oh, all the way from India. I really loved your classes and I do often participate in quizzes in Telegram group. Awesome. Awesome, Venkat. Good to know. Good to know. Thanks. Someone has a question on audio, but I think you can't hear them. Oh, really? I can't hear? Wow. What's wrong with my audio? Let me check, guys, real quick. Let me check real quick. Oh, it might be my volume. My volume is all the way down. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, let me take this person. Go ahead. Speak now. I can hear you. Sorry, my audio. Go ahead.
Sorry, I want to ask, can we use Beanstalk to host a mobile app too?
I'd say I can't say 100% yes at this point, but this is a really great question. I'm gonna research. Let's all go and research this, and come back with our answer next week. How about that? I don't want to say if it's a mobile app written in Java, then it should work. I don't want to say that. And this is also an advice for you guys on interviews. If you don't know, please say you don't know. Okay, don't ever pretend. Don't say yes to recruiters and the tech recruiter. They don't like when people. So I want to be honest and straightforward here. I'm not sure. Okay, let's go and do our research, and we'll come back next week and probably have figured out the answer by then. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, who's that?
Vince.
Vince.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. So my question is, you know, when you walk through the Elastic Beanstalk process, I didn't have visibility into, you know, the number of resources that was used for the application. So how do I estimate cost? You know, what if the Elastic Beanstalk has over-provisioned more than what I can afford, you know, from a cost standpoint? And my second question is this, can you, with Elastic, so is it that we don't need CloudFormation scripts anymore since we now have Elastic Beanstalk?
To answer your first question, from what I've noticed, it uses to start with. It uses the smallest instance size, the T2 micro that we've been using before. At least from the, I think I can actually see that here. Let's go in here. Let me make sure. It's in configuration, right? Software instances. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I hope you guys can still see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, so configuration on the left. Let me just search for T2 here. I'm pretty sure it was T2 when I did mine before. Yeah, do you see that, guys? So smallest free tier instance. We can customize this. As you can see, all of this configuration. So I hope this answers your question. Do you see edit on all of this? Do you see this? Okay, good.
Yes.
So that's how you can go in and do those resource updates and changes like you want. Okay. Well, I may have forgotten to mention this. I think Elastic Beanstalk. Well, even if it's gonna charge you guys just a few, maybe $1 or $2, but immediately, or maybe not, you won't get charged. Terminate your environment right now, guys. Okay, because I believe there's something about some minor costs to using this. Elastic, maybe they've changed that. Great question. Stock free tier. How to ensure the feature is intended to provide a trial iteration, not intended for production use. Pricing. Okay. So I'm thinking, I think there's no free tier here. But again, guys, sorry about that. If you know, it's gonna be very minimal. If you terminate now, it's gonna be very, very tiny fee you're gonna see. $2-3.
Hello, Mukhtar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can I chip in? This is Tofik. Yeah, I was just gonna give them my experience. I started for the DevOps professional,
Nice.
AWS, and I was using the resources in the free tier. Honestly speaking,
Yeah.
these things will not cost you more than $5, even if you leave it on for 30 days.
Mm,
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, if you are really in the free tier and you do this sample apps and all that, it doesn't cost you a lot.
Yeah, good point though. But I wouldn't say 30 days.
I'm saying from my experience,
Yeah.
I've had EC2 instances that I built applications on, but I didn't want to, I have to build on them, just upgrade and do stuff. So I didn't want to start all the time, every time, build new EC2 instance. I just leave one EC2 instance and do stuff on it. And for 30 days, I never paid more than $5.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah, good to know. But
the free tier helps. I'm sure if it wasn't for free tier, I would have been paying more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Those other instances, of course, in production environments, I've talked about M5 before. There are other ones with, higher memory and compute, right? All of that, if you want to know the best one to use for web applications, for high performance, it's all in the documentation on EC2. So those ones, of course, will cost you a lot more. AWS gives this so that you get some, if we're not using Elastic Beanstalk, of course, it'll be free with, the other free tier. But in this case, maybe you get charged $2 or $3. But again, we're using the smallest one, so it's not like you're going to see like $100 or $1,000, okay? With that said, I'm going to go and delete this now. I think I didn't answer all the questions that Vince asked. Vince, we've seen the configuration part where you can edit. And again, we're going to get a little advanced in the coming weeks. Maybe 2 more sessions for Elastic Beanstalk. Add database. What else? Maybe add auto-scaling group as well. What was your other question, Vince? I think you had one more apart from that.
Yeah, I feel like with this Elastic Beanstalk now, you wouldn't want to stress yourself writing CloudFormation scripts.
CloudFormation, yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, CloudFormation script. So if you were doing that before, and so with this now, yes, right? But again, some organizations have reasons why they have to have it in CloudFormation and version control that CloudFormation as well. They probably will not want to go back from that, but this is usually for small, usually start, not to say that enterprises don't use this, right? For some of the applications, they will choose to use this, right? But this is more of startups, liking this approach, right? Small startups with like 2 developers, 3 developers, right? They prefer this, right? We don't have to do a lot of work with managing 10 servers and all that. Just put all of that in Elastic Beanstalk, right? And it's not like we're writing code like CloudFormation to do that as well, right? Elastic Beanstalk would automatically deploy that for us in the back. And I believe I shouldn't. I think it's actually using CloudFormation in the back end, right? It's doing all of that work for you in the back end. But I'm not 100% sure. But I believe when I was studying for the DevOps Pro, that was one of the things I made. Does anyone know? It's CloudFormation, right, in the back end. Anyone here advanced that's aware of this? I'm not 100%, but so in real life, you're not writing the CloudFormation. Okay, K will say yes, right. In the backend, it's using CloudFormation itself, so you don't have to write those templates. And you guys know how CloudFormation, how complicated it can get, right? Especially when it starts getting very huge, right? So this makes it easier for smaller teams, startups to get started, right? They don't care about the money for the app is doing well, right? They don't care about how much it's costing them per month. At least they're making their money, right? So it's okay, let Elastic Beanstalk do all the management work for us, rather than us hiring an SRE, site reliability engineer, or a cloud engineer, and paying, not that they won't have someone there that's cloud knowledgeable, right? But instead of hiring someone and paying like $150K, right, something like that, they can just use Elastic Beanstalk, save on that cost, just learn how to deploy the application, and they're good. Right. So great addition to your resume, guys. I really have to run now. Any last question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Last question for the day.
Okay. So, all right. So imagine a situation where the application you are hosting is one that is integrating with third parties. So maybe you're integrating with banks or with payment processors, for instance. Now, if you use Elastic Beanstalk, right, how do you cater for that integration? Maybe a VPN, to a bank or to a payment processor, right? I feel like, if you write the CloudFormation script yourself, you probably take that into consideration, right? With this now, I don't know if unless you start editing the Elastic Beanstalk, like I don't know if you get my point. Like,
yeah, I get your point.
Yeah, so that's just, and this is a startup now, so this is a startup scenario. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get your point. That makes sense. So usually third-party integrations are via APIs, right? So as your developers are writing the code, all of that perhaps is already done, through the code, right? Inside of the code, right? They're talking to retrieve some information from some third-party services, via their APIs. They'll do that. Or there are other services that they can also use on AWS, leverage, right? What is one of them? Starts with an E. Oh my God. Like Event Bus, right? And things like that. I don't want to get into those, but at the end of the day, all of that can be done in the code before you deploy it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. So just, yeah, all of that can be done through the code before you deploy. All right, guys. Thank you, guys. May I know when you start the fresh batch?
Last question, please. Can you please show us how we can terminate this?
Good. Yeah, good. Okay, everybody, click on environment. Okay, click on environment. I know sometimes when you delete, it won't show you that it's deleting, so it gets some people confused a little, but it is. So as you can see, I've checked this sample environment that I created. Actions. Do you guys see that? Terminate environment. Okay. Enter the name. Permanently terminate this. So let's copy that name. Control C. Okay. Control V. Will be released. Will be terminated. So terminate. So everything that it creates for you, as it was building this environment for you, everything will be deleted. Okay. So now I'm actually sure that it's using CloudFormation in the backend, right? Because all of those resources, CloudWatch, if there was load balancing and all of that, everything will now be terminated with that environment. Okay. So you don't have to go in one by one and start deleting. Yeah.
I've been doing the same thing, but it's not giving me the option to actually terminate, which is
so you
that's what I've been doing.
You clicked on environment?
I clicked on environment. Then I went to actions, terminate environment, and I literally put the name in there, and it's not like allowing me to terminate it.
So make sure there are no spaces or anything like that in there. Did your application run fine? Did you test it? Did it work?
It ran perfectly. Yes.
Yeah. Also refresh the page. Refresh the page and try it again, or see if it's terminating.
I'm gonna try it again. Yep. Still no. I'm not sure.
So as you can see, I can. Yeah. I can't do it anymore because is this what you're seeing? Like everything is blank. Everything is grayed out. Is everything grayed out?
I have the option. I have the option to terminate the environment, and then I put the environment name.
Yeah.
Where it tells you to, but I don't have. But it does not. The terminate button still remains grayed out. It does not, turn it like orange where you can actually click it.
Okay.
So
I log out and log back in again.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah, that might not be the case, but try that. Maybe if you click on environment, click on the name itself. Okay. Refresh. Click on the click on the name itself instead of choosing the button. Click on the name itself, and then you see if this works, or see what's happening here. Do you see mine?
Okay. Yeah, I see it.
What does yours say?
I clicked on the name. It says help is okay.
Okay.
Running version, sample code source, and all of that.
And then if you click on actions, what do you see?
when I click on actions, I see the options to terminate the environment, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the actual name.
Yeah, copy the actual name. Make sure you know it's exactly no space before or after.
Now I'm able to.
Very nice, very nice. Good, good, good.
Now
All
I'm
right,
able
guys.
to.
Okay, cool, cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, guys. Thank you all. Thank you all. Are we going to be Dockers and all that? Hopefully, maybe to some extent we'll get there. I'll see. I'll see how. I'll see how long I can continue with this. With these sessions. But I do plan on at least giving you guys some doing some labs on Docker, on CI/CD pipeline, something to get you started and to be able to put on your resume and get a job. Not a promise though, guys, please. And also please be flexible with me. I know sometimes I have to cancel classes, and last week I was honest with you guys, right? I was testing Elastic Beanstalk, but for some reason it wasn't working. I didn't want to get on there without making sure that I had it working, okay? So sometimes I might postpone class because of some family commitments or something like that. Please, I know you guys are very understanding, but don't worry. I'll try as much as possible to find time and do these sessions with you guys, okay? Thank you, and see you guys next Sunday, hopefully, right? Hopefully I'll see you guys next weekend, okay? Let's hope we don't postpone. All right, thanks guys, take care, bye.